Hey YouTube, this is Subject Donald, and known as Seth Karate Fist Way, and today I'm on a topic about doing traditional martial arts and testing it out into sparring. I would love to test my skill out in the sparring. I love to spar, but the thing of it is, most people around here they don't like to do martial arts. They're more of into boxing or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I don't mind either one of them. If I could just find somebody to spar. But that's the thing. Most people around these farm towns, they don't. All they do is either they farm or they get drunk or whatever, they take care of their family. And then that's the thing with farmers around where I live at. Not all farmers drink, but there are some around here that do. And most of the time, they're either taking care of their family. And the only thing they do is either they just work out. Sometimes they don't even do that. They build their strength by doing farm work. So, excuse me. So when you're doing back then, like let's say in ancient times, uh, Japan or the Romans and the Greeks or ancient China, even ancient United States, everybody were farmers back then. They just taught themselves on how to fight. They didn't really go by a system. They just did what worked. And yet, the thing of it is, this is the truth. This is facts. Most people nowadays, they would rather have somebody teach them on how to do things than try to learn things on their own. Or pay somebody to teach them to do something. To me, I'm more of somebody doing it on my own type of person. Yeah, I learned from an instructor, like a long time ago, but I was realizing myself, I gotta learn most of the stuff on my own. Because it seems like, like every traditional stand-up fighting system is basically the same. To me, a punch is just a punch. A kick is just a kick. An elbow is just an elbow. But those are tools, or knee is just a knee. But those are tools that you can utilize in a street fight. Or into the ring. That's the thing. Most people nowadays they say, "Oh, we gotta do karate," to learn every technique, or for on stand up, or if you want to get good at just punching, you want to learn to do boxing. Now, if you want to learn Aikido, you gotta get good at wrist locking. Same with Hapkido. Both the same art, just taught different. Um, Tang Sudo and Taekwondo, they're both kicking arts. Same art. Jeet Kune Do, same as the same as Taekwondo, pretty much, but known as the Chinese handweight or Chinese boxing, because basically it came from a form of kung fu, but it has all styles. So then there's kung fu. Well, they all basically teach the same. They might just teach animal movements, but still, it's the same freaking thing. You know, why, when we have the internet out here today, when we have the internet out here today, and this is the thing, there was a UFC fighter. I can't remember the video, I can't remember when I saw that video, but there was a UFC fighter that he said that he learned his stuff off of YouTube. And he became professional. So if you think you can learn anything off the internet, yeah, you can. But if you learn it, you must try to do it in real life. You must try to practice it. Same with out of books. If most people say, "Oh yeah, I can learn out of books. I can do this," and they say, "Well, I don't have money for a school, so I'm gonna purchase me a book of martial arts." Well, then they do that. Well, yes, they can learn out of a book. They can understand what they're doing out of the book. But the thing of it is, it's on how you practice with that book. Can you use it to learn to protect yourself? Yes, you can. But the thing of it is, where I'm getting at today is today's society is about learning from others and, paying somebody else to do things and for them, because most people don't want to try to learn anything on their own. Back then, in ancient times, they didn't really have a system. They just did what worked for them, just to be able to survive. And you gotta teach. If you wanna, if you wanna get good at striking, if you wanna get good at striking, learn boxing or learn karate. And if you want to get good at your ground game, learn wrestling or catch wrestling or Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Man, I've been doing a lot of studying on Brazilian. I've been doing a lot of reading on Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I've been doing a lot of reading on wrestling. Because that's the stuff that I don't know about. And I've done it before. Don't get me wrong. I have done Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I have done wrestling. I mean, I worked out with the guy that watched WWE all the time. And one day I was giving him a bunch of crap that wrestling, WWE wrestling is fake. It won't it won't do out in the real world. And, I was saying that. Because to me, it might look real on the internet, on the TV and stuff, but it's all choreographed. To me, that's not fighting. But when you go to UFC and stuff, mixed martial arts, that's fighting. They do their shit for real. Even though it might be a fixed fight, to see who comes out on top, but it's real. But other than that, does WWE wrestling stuff work in real life? Yeah, it does, because the guy proved it wrong. I tested it out. Tested it out on him. Yeah, he didn't really do the move fully on me, but he was kind of being easy on me because I didn't know nothing about it. So I used whatever I could. I told him, I said, you know what? I said, I'll just use my boxing on you. And even though I'm good with the other striking arts as well, but I said, I'll just use my boxing on you. I said, you use your wrestling. And he tested it out on me. I tested my art out on me. It was basically an even match. So wrestling does work. It's like I said, it's like you just gotta test it out. And I don't like to film my sparring. Everybody says, oh, you guys, I want to see you spar. I don't like to film my sparring. Now, I don't mind filming my techniques on what I practice on. I don't mind filming my bag work videos. I don't mind filming, stuff that I do on my videos. But all I'm saying is that, back then, they didn't have a system. They didn't have people paying people to teach them something. Back then, they were just normal farmers. They just did what they did to learn to survive. And either they become soldiers later on to protect the country. And then that's how they learn to fight. And then they get into the ring and start fighting for survival to make some extra cash. So why do we need to learn from other people when it comes to fighting? Yeah, we can learn to do it right. They got books on it. Yeah, you're still learning from somebody, but you're not, learning from an actual instructor. Same with videos. If you're doing home study courses, with, DVDs. Yeah, that's great. You can learn all you want off those DVDs, but you better test it and, see if it works. My stuff, it works. I don't have to test anything. Because I know it works. And so it's just muscle memory. Everything comes into play once you end up, doing everything, training and everything. Hey, I had a friend that he was going to throw a punch at me, and I didn't even flinch. And most people would flinch at that shit. And he's like, "How did you know I wasn't going to throw a punch?" Because we're at work. And I said, "I saw your shoulder on how it was going to move." And that's how I could tell is by the shoulders on what it's going to do. And that was another advice that my instructor taught me in the past, or a friend of mine taught me in the past. And in boxing, he said, always look at the shoulder. Look at their eyes, but look at their shoulder when on what it's going to do. And then you can tell, study the shoulders. And that way, if they get ready to throw a punch, you know what punch they're going to end up throwing. Then you have time to evade it. So, you can accept tips from people. You can accept, advice from people on what to do. But really, all it comes down to back then, they just didn't have a system. They didn't. They might have studied one or two moves, and then later on down the road, they studied some more moves that worked on their own, that did on their own, and then they said, "Oh, this works. I'm going to utilize this into my system, or I'm going to utilize this into my survival techniques, or whatever." It's just, I just don't like it when a lot of other martial artists out there, um, you know, that proclaim to be masters, and only thing I can say is that I'm not no master. I'm not even a real teacher, but you know, I do have a black belt in type, uh, basically Korean karate. It ain't really Japanese karate, it's Korean karate. Basically a form of Taekwondo. But really technically the Grand Master that made that system up, um, he called it was supposed to be originally Korean karate on how he was doing it, but he turned it into somebody else called Taekwondo because his original master called it Korean karate. So I just called it Korean karate on what I was learning, but it, you know, it didn't really look like karate to me. Now, I do have a red belt in International Taekwondo Federation, a red belt in that, but you know, it's been so long since I've done the forms, but I remember like all the stuff that I've been taught with the kicks, and what works and what doesn't work. And I even made it, I even borrowed some kicks from other systems and put it into my own arsenal, into my own training. You know, why, you know, why learn from school when, you can learn most of it on your own? And that's what I was trying to do in the first place. is doing my own system without learning from anybody. But I realized, where I was going at into my system of training, I had to learn from somebody. I realized that. But back then, like I said, they didn't really learn from anybody. They just, if that master thought, well, if I get some people to follow me, I could probably get some people to train. But the students just did on what they was told by their elders. So to me, when it comes to martial arts or fighting itself, every system is the same, other than just different trainings. Why do we need names? Because most people are focused on names of the style. They're not. They're not learning the techniques because they're too busy. What style to learn? What style to practice? They're more worried about the name instead of just doing it. Seth, Karate Fist Way, signing out.